Welcome to Birmingham, the largest city in the West Midlands, the biggest example of the changes made by the Industrial Revolution, one of England's principal industries and commercial areas. Now home of the Commonwealth Games 2022, an international multi-sport tournament for Commonwealth members. Yes, the Games have promised the public various events, both sport and culture related. But let's not forget that the whole point of the Commonwealth Games is to celebrate not only the city of Birmingham, but its culture and its diversity. After all, what's Birmingham without its people? Now, let's take a more focused look. The MAC is one of the art venues that will be portraying the cultural and artistic side of the Games. Their exhibitions this 2022 will all be focused on one theme: our place in the Commonwealth. These exhibitions will be celebrating local and international artists who have reflected their heritage in their work and who bring fresh perspectives on the notions of Commonwealth, Britishness, and identity.
My aim was to try and explore what people who identify in the same way that I do as a gay man, what their experiences of living as a gay man in this time is like. I've tried to make a conversation between a community that sits across both Johannesburg and Birmingham. So people doubt that their story has value. And has value in being told and being shared. So that was a surprise to them, I think, as well, that they suddenly realized through the course of this process that actually people do connect with their story and that their story is everyone's story and many people's story.
I seen a zine called Mixed Rage, loved the concept, what it was about, how it looked, and wanted to find out more. I met Savannah Lobi and then contributed to the second and third edition. That's where the othering comes in, because if you're not categorized but seen as something, categorized as that but seen as this, and everything is seen as life has been plain sailing, well, that's definitely not the case, because you're having to contend with that categorization, of who you are, only because you don't look a certain way or you'll look this way, but you're placed in that middle complex positioning of you're not black, you're not white, you're in this grey zone area that's full of political and cultural issues that nobody dares to talk about or explore.
So Zeb and Nissa, which is the title of the project, was my mother's name before she moved to the UK and before she married my dad. The work really explores my mother's life before she got married, but also what my life could have been like had my family not moved to the UK. So it's looking at alternate identity that I could have had as a Pakistani woman rather than a British Pakistani. Even now, when I look at the photographs and I'm setting up, I'm reminded that actually I formed my own identity and I am completely different to my parents. And I think that's a really kind of underrated or underrepresented opinion, that sacrifice is so clear and it's so common in everyone's migration stories. Like, somebody has had to sacrifice something. I think sacrifice was a theme that really kind of stood out to me, and it really is prominent in when I research and when I think more and more about my work.
Yeah, I hope that my work shows that black women are not a monolith, and people of colour generally are not a monolith. We are multifaceted. We deserve opportunities. We deserve to be seen and heard in spaces, but we also deserve to be decision makers within those spaces. And I think that's really important, that we're not just tokenistic, that we can instigate real change. So I hope that my work inspires other people to find their own path, to find ways of making or trying to instigate change and make things happen for themselves, and challenging people who are standing in their way and realizing that they're enough.
There's a great South African saying, which is, I am because you are. And I think that that's at the heart of the piece. Although we're telling the stories or sharing the stories of gay men from Johannesburg and Birmingham, actually the project is about connecting those stories across the cities and beyond sexuality and beyond purely gay men, and that it speaks to the LGBT plus community, and it speaks to the heterosexual community, and it connects with what it means to be human and to live.
It's imperative that we appreciate and celebrate each other. We recognise our differences and commonalities. There has to be legacy to projects. So I think it's really important for not just for us, but for future generations as well.